restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Ted Dabrowski, Vice President of Policy at the Illinois Policy Institute, this edition of Illinois Rising. And Ted, you had the city of Chicago taking up all the big issues. Ed Burke leading the charge to ban smokeless tobacco. Which
that's crucial.
Well, right, yeah. It imperils Addison Russell and John Lackey. I'm still waiting for Ed Burke to throw either one of them out of the game for using smokeless tobacco during a Cubs game. I wonder how the fans would react to that. And then there's this new law in Chicago, not Illinois, although it's pending in Illinois. New law in Chicago: you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes. You have to be 18 to serve our country in the military, go to war for our country. You have to be 21 to buy cigarettes in Chicago.
It's amazing how our leaders in Chicago and the other big cities can find time to spend on this, but not fix the real problems that we have, that we talk about all the time on these shows. And they find it so easy to take away people's freedoms, right? Like you said, you can go to war, but you can't smoke. Can you smoke while you're on the battlefield?
I don't know. That's a good question. If you are from Chicago and you're deployed in a theater of battle and Ed Burke finds out that you have purchased cigarettes and are smoking, will he issue a fine against you in absentia? That's a good question. I mean, I would hope so, because, you want to enforce the law. So I'd like to see Ed Burke do that, or, maybe wait until you return, if you hopefully do return, and then you could adjudicate the case before some kangaroo court in the city when you get back from serving our country. Yeah, I mean, this is the silliness of it, but this is Chicago. This is a silly city. And Ed Burke and these other professional meddlers who know better how to manage your life than you do, who know the best choices you should make. Also, what choices do they make? Whatever nutty idea comes out of New York, Ed Burke immediately turns around and introduces an ordinance in the city of Chicago.
Sugary drinks, right?
Right, yeah. The nanny state and these meddlesome individuals. And the other thing, too, in addition to the kind of the false protecting people, protecting our future, protecting our young from decisions they want to make, especially relative to the ability to vote, the ability to serve and die for our country. But in addition to that, it's a scam, right? Because on the one hand, they say don't smoke and certainly don't purchase cigarettes if you're under 21. On the other hand, they're reliant on people doing precisely that because they budget for and spend money they expect to realize from tobacco taxes before you've ever even thought about purchasing cigarettes.
We need those tax revenues, right? That's how we balance our budgets. Or same thing on liquor and on all these other sin taxes. Well, they hate those sins, but they love the tax revenues.
Red light cameras, speed cameras. Don't speed, don't blow through red lights, don't smoke, don't drink, don't gamble, except we need you to do all of those things. We're betting, speaking of gambling, that you will do all of those things because we budget for the anticipated revenue. Now, they normally budget wrong and then just deficit spend because they don't understand the concept of elasticity of demand because nobody in the city council apparently passed an Econ 101 course, or they don't care. I don't know which. You choose. They're either a craven or they're ignorant or some combination of the two. But that's the scam. So it's insulting on one hand, just from a kind of a moral perspective of people's dominion over their own lives, individual sovereignty, and also the scam they run on people.
Dan, I would take this, from cigarettes all the way to things like school choice. They don't believe that parents would be able to choose a better school than the one they're in. They just don't have high expectations of the people that live in their city. And I think that's it's a damning thing that they do. And I think it overall diminishes people's quality of life and freedom.
Yeah, it's human beings are means to my political ends. That's what they are. They're liabilities to be managed. That's the philosophy of the Chicago Democrat left, as exemplified by Burke. They're not assets to be developed, to empower with choices to develop, right? And that's a big difference. And it's a big difference in worldviews. And it turns out that policies that flow from those different worldviews result in very different societies in which we live.